Building Wealth from Nothing. 7 Inspirational Rags to Riches Stories. Rags to riches stories don't just happen in the movies. Life is never easy as we have our ups and downs, but the most important thing is staying positive and smiling. We know many famous and rich people but don't know about their struggles. We know their wealth but don't know their downs. Some of the world's wealthiest people started out dirt poor. These 7 rags to riches stories remind us that anyone can overcome their circumstances and achieve extraordinary success through determination, grit, and a little bit of luck. Do you think it's more grit or luck that leads to success? Let us know in the comment section below. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Number 1. Andrew Carnegie. This American industrialist, the founder of Carnegie Steel, a company that produced more steel than all of Great Britain at one point, was born to a poor handloom weaver in Scotland. He grew up in poverty, living in a one-room house, often sleeping to forget the misery of hunger. To fight starvation, his family migrated to the U.S. His first job was at age 13 as a bobbin boy, changing spools of thread in a cotton mill 12 hours a day, 6 days a week in a Pittsburgh cotton factory. In his spare time, he would read works of Robert Burns and historical Scottish heroes like Robert the Bruce, William Wallace, and Rob Roy. His next job was as a telegraph messenger boy. A true entrepreneur, he was a hard worker and was soon promoted to operator. Colonel James Anderson, who opened his personal library of 400 volumes to working boys each Saturday night, gave an excellent boost to Carnegie's education and passion for reading. He did a series of railroad jobs. There, he learned about the industry and business in general. It was during this stint that he began making investments in steel and oil companies that earned him huge returns. By 1889, Carnegie Steel Corporation was the largest of its kind in the world. He went on to become the richest man in the world, known as one of the builders of America who helped shape the nation. In 1901, he sold Carnegie Steel to J.P. Morgan for $480 million and became a philanthropist. He donated millions to the New York Public Library, established the Carnegie Institute of Technology in Pittsburgh, which is now known as Carnegie Mellon University, created the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, and formed the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Remember, the journey began in a one-room weaver's cottage in Dunfermline. Number 2. Oprah Winfrey. Best known for her multi-award-winning talk show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, the highest-rated program of its kind in history. Oprah Winfrey is dubbed as the Queen of all media and ranked as the richest African American of the 20th century. She was born into poverty in rural Mississippi to a teenage single mother. She was later raised in an inner-city Milwaukee neighborhood. She's often spoken about the hardships she experienced during childhood, saying she was raped at age 9 and 13. After suffering years of abuse, she ran away from home. She became pregnant at 14. Her son, she said, died in infancy. While in high school, she landed a job in radio and began co-anchoring the local evening news at the age of 19. She got transferred to the daytime talk show arena because of her emotional ad-lib delivery. She became a millionaire at age 32 when her talk show went national. She's credited with creating a more intimate confessional form of media communication. Forbes International Rich List listed her as the world's only black billionaire from 2004 to 2006 and the first black woman billionaire in world history. Number 3. Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison was born in New York City to an unwed Jewish mother. His father was an Italian-American U.S. Air Force pilot. According to Wikipedia, Ellison contracted pneumonia when he was 9 months old, and his mother gave him to her aunt and uncle for adoption. His adoptive mother was warm and loving, while his adoptive father was unsupportive and distant. He was a bright but inattentive student. After his second year, he left the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign without taking his final exams because his adopted mother had just died. Later, he attended the University of Chicago for 1 term, where he first encountered computer design. In 1966, age 22, he moved to Northern California. In 1977, he founded Software Development Laboratories, SDL, with 2 partners and an investment of $2,000. In 1982, the company became Oracle Systems Corporation after its flagship product, the Oracle Database. Currently, Ellison owns stakes in Salesforce.com, NetSuite, Quark Biotechnology Incorporated, and Astex Pharmaceuticals. In September 2011, Ellison was listed on the Forbes list of billionaires as the 5th richest man in the world. Ellison is currently the 7th richest American, with a net worth of about $117 billion. Number 4. Li Ka-shing. This Hong Kong business magnate, investor, and philanthropist is one of the wealthiest people in Asia, with a net worth of approximately $30 billion, according to Forbes. He was born in Guangdong Province, China. After his father's death, he was forced to leave school to support his family before he turned 15. He found work at a plastics trading company where he labored 16 hours a day. After years of backbreaking work, he was able to start his own company, Kong Industries. From his humble beginnings in China as a teacher's son, a refugee, and later as a salesman, Li provides a lesson in integrity and adaptability. Through hard work and a reputation for remaining true to his internal moral compass, he was able to build a business empire that includes banking, construction, real estate, plastics, cellular phones, satellite television, cement production, retail outlets, pharmacies, supermarkets, hotels, domestic transportation, airports, electric power, steel production, ports, and shipping. Today, Li's businesses cover almost every facet of life in Hong Kong. From electricity to telecommunications, from real estate to retail, from shipping to the internet. The Kong Group operates in 55 countries and employs over 260,000 staff worldwide. Number 5. Koum. When Facebook announced it was buying mobile messaging startup WhatsApp for $19 billion in February 2014, that caused quite a stir. Koum, the startup's co-founder, became the most talked about entrepreneur overnight. The media reported that WhatsApp floored Mark Zuckerberg so much that the record offer was made so that the two could become friends. A true rag-to-riches hero, Koum was born and raised in a village on the outskirts of Kiev, Ukraine, as the only child of a housewife and a construction laborer. Forbes reported that the house had no hot water, and his parents feared that their phone was tapped by the state and so rarely talked on it. He immigrated to California with his mother when he was 16. He used to sweep the floor of a grocery store and stood in line to collect food stamps. By 18, he was an expert computer hacker. In 1997, Koum was hired by Yahoo as an infrastructure engineer. Shortly after, he met Brian Acton while working at Ernst & Young as a security tester. In January 2009, Koum bought an iPhone and realized that it would spawn a whole new industry of apps. On his birthday, February 24, 2009, he incorporated WhatsApp Incorporated in California. And the rest, as commonly said, is history. Number 6. Samuel Walton. This American entrepreneur who built a small grocery store into the giant Walmart supermarket chain, amassing a fortune of over $23 billion, grew up during the Great Depression. He had numerous chores to help make financial ends meet for his family, as was common at the time. He milked the family cow, bottled the surplus, and drove it to customers. Afterwards, he would deliver Columbia Daily Tribune newspapers on a paper route. In addition, he also sold magazine subscriptions. During his time in college, he worked various odd jobs, including waiting tables in exchange for meals. After graduation, he joined the U.S. Army during World War II. After the war, he left the military and started managing a variety store at the age of 26. He took a loan to buy his first store, and thanks to simple innovations in business, he soon bought his second store. Within 3 years, his sales volume grew to $225,000. The first actual Walmart opened on July 2, 1962 in Rogers, Arkansas. The rest is history. Forbes ranked Sam Walton as the wealthiest person in the United States from 1982 to 1988. At the time of his death in 1992, he had 1,960 Walmart stores, employed 380,000 people, and clocked annual sales of about $50 billion. Number 7. Richard Branson. Perhaps one of the most famous rags-to-riches business stories comes in the form of Richard Branson, one of the world's most celebrated entrepreneurs. A little-known fact about this refreshingly candid mogul is that he was bankrupted twice before he actually started to make money. Having done poorly in school, at just 16, Branson dropped out and started his first magazine. Shortly afterward, he set up a mail-order business selling records, which then moved swiftly into him opening stores. With just £300 in his bank account. In 1971, he was arrested and charged for selling records in his stores that had already been declared export stock. As it was so early in his business days, there was no way Branson could repay the debts, and the charges led to his mother having to remortgage the family home. Several years and countless successful businesses later, Branson is now one of the most lauded British entrepreneurs ever, worth an estimated $5.7 billion. These rags to riches stories are extreme examples of entrepreneurs starting from nothing and working their way up to the top. This is something you can do too if you really want to. Make sure you have the hunger to manage the path before you, and don't be afraid to take a risk. Who among these 7 entrepreneurs inspires you most? And tell us about other inspiring entrepreneurs you admire in the comments section below.